Here today. As you can see in the agenda, and Christina told us, my theme sounds a little bit mysterious, Shades of Georgia. And I would like to tell you today about my impressions about my summer Georgian trip. So last August, after a hard year of working in a new company, I've decided to go for a holiday. Georgia suits my requirements completely. It has clean sea, amazing nature, ancient and modern architecture, and tons of tasty food. My trip was divided into 3 parts, equal 3 cities I've visited. Is Batumi, Kutaisi and Tbilisi. And I will tell you about these 3 cities and what I've learned from them. When we landed in the airport, we took a taxi and drove 7 hours through the central and south part of Georgia to finally plunge into the sea. We saw Georgian highways, cows walking by these highways, quiet valleys and amazing mountains and small wooden houses in the middle of nowhere. That was amazing, and 7 hours went like 7 minutes. When we finally get to our first stop, we learn what it is, Georgian hospitality. We were met by our host family like dearest guests in the world, like we knew each other for ages. And in a few minutes we learned a lot. Best cafes, best shops, best places in our village near Batumi. We were met like a family, like brothers or sisters, and have never met before. I will never forget my first Georgian dinner. Food was simple, but the taste was so natural. I guess I've never ate that before. Maybe in my childhood, when I was with my grandmother for a whole summer, and she cooked me this tasty dishes. Portions was big, like I guess super big. You never feel yourself deceived when you go to a cafe. We spent an amazing week there. In the mornings we swam a lot, and in the day we went to Batumi to walk there. Batumi is a special city. In the center you can feel yourself like in Italy or in Paris, and along with flavorful coffee and croissants you can feel yourself like in Europe. And it helped me a lot to cope with the Euro exchange rate, so I felt myself like I am in Europe. And we spent another day in Batumi Botanical Garden, and I highly recommend you to visit it. I observed the whole city, Batumi skyscrapers from the high point of this park, from the mountain. I saw emerald sea, and I smelled eucalyptus trees, so it's a tropical trees that we brought them before. But 7 days passed by quickly, and we had to move on. We get to Kutaisi. This is an old city in the mainland, in the center of Georgia, and we plan to visit only 3 places there. 2 monasteries, ancient monasteries, and 1 caves, Prometheus caves. Gelati, this is our first monastery which we visited, situated only, I guess, half an hour from Kutaisi by car. It is one of the ancient monasteries I've ever met. An old lady showed us all the hidden corners and places of this monastery in the church, and the most important part for me that we can see all the ancient wall paintings inside the church. Mainly they were destroyed by Turkish invaders, but it was decided by Georgian government not to reconstruct them. So now you can see the originals inside this church, but none of them are presented now. The second monastery was Matsameta, and when we get there with my mom, we saw a small church with a few houses near, but when I stood there alone for a minute, I heard Russian river, I see the blue sky and green mountains, and only a dog barking somewhere reminds me that I'm alive, that it's real world. This place was really amazing, and I remember it. And then we've decided to go to Prometheus Caves to feel some freshness, because it was too hot in Georgia in August. These stalactites and stalagmites inside this underground were illuminated with green, yellow, purple lights, and sometimes I was scared because these figures were too real to be just stones, and this is a real adventure for your imagination. You can see some different animals or situations in these stones. The 2 days in Kutaisi we spent, and now it was time to finally see the capital of Tbilisi. It is capital of Georgia. It is Tbilisi. Sorry. We learned a lot from internet about Tbilisi. We read all the places, markets, then we can visit. But I wanted to find my special places there, my markets, to discover some special cafes that I wanted to create my own history of Tbilisi, to see some special places. And I wouldn't lie to you if I tell you that Tbilisi is a city of contrasts. It is a different city. All traditions happily live with innovations. You can see the ancient monasteries and the modern shops in a few meters from each other. I've argued with all the merchants on the markets in order to get a best price. I took a taxi with the craziest drivers in Tbilisi, and we drove through the tight cities of the old city. And I got the best emotions from Tbilisi. And to sum up, I hope that you learned a bit about Georgia from my short story, and I encourage you to visit Georgia one day and to discover your shades of Georgia. Thank you.